No, exactly.
On this note, this is a very strange tangent, and I don't know why I know about this, but I went down a while back. I went down like a rabbit hole. I'm going to send you this now, Benny.
Wow.
It's a plane that the French created called the Collier Copter. Right, this thing. I really love these things because they basically it makes you realise, and it kind of does link to what we're talking about. It makes you realise the world is just ideas. The world is simply ideas. So someone's had the idea to both jump out of a plane, cross over, get back in. They've convinced enough other people that it's a good idea. They got the money. They made it happen. What happened with the French in the 1950s? In some sort of the idea of this was that it was obviously a military aircraft. A lot of stuff comes from military development. They created what can only be described as I don't know, maybe someone else can describe it because I can't actually. It's
like a flying thimble.
It looks like a thimble, right? It actually, the closest thing it looks like is a UFO to me, doesn't it? Because you see the wheels on the bottom. So to our audio listeners, it kind of looks like a UFO, but with the front of a fighter jet sticking out the top. I would recommend looking
like
it
a
up.
bell. You know what you had at school, like the old school
bell. Yeah, it does. So it's called the Polio Copter, or no, the Colliopter.
Could you spell that for our listeners?
C450. So it's the C450 Colliopter. Do you like that? Oh, I did that because I saw the little lines above the E's, and I figured I had to do an accent.
The pronunciation was bang on, absolutely perfect.
Thank you. So to our listeners, it's probably worth looking this one up, isn't it? Really. So the idea, it's basically, I guess a good way to explain it would be that it's like one of the jets from a passenger jet with a little cockpit on the top of it, isn't it?
That's basically So it's got no wings.
No, it's got 4 small fins, and the idea was that it could vertically take off and land.
Yeah, it's VTOL, isn't it?
Yeah, so this thing was designed. So imagine testing this in the 1950s. You literally had to just like give it a go. You had to get in your weird dildo room on top of the giant bell, which is a massive jet engine, and then and it's got trolley wheels on the bottom, and you had to just go like, "All right, guys, test number 1." It's super interesting if you look into it, though. I find it interesting anyway because
at some point everything's that, though, isn't it? Like you said, everything is someone has got to sit in it.
Yeah.
And just hope for the best, man, and just hope it works.
It was an idea, and like we could be looking
successful flights attaining a maximum altitude of 800 meters.
That's high enough to die and high enough to not be able to get your ejector seat working and parachute down. So there's a very brave person in the bell. Should we call it the bell end? Maybe we could call the cockpit the bell end. But that's a very brave person, isn't it? Really.
He's the bravest person, really.
It just looks so unstable, this thing.
Yeah.
It was nicknamed the Flying Barrel.
Flying barrel.
So the idea is that it hovers.
Do you know
and
if
then
it ever actually worked?
No, it never did. From what I can tell, they had a lot of like hovering testing, but they never made it to horizontal flight, which was the ultimate goal. It's actually very interesting because the fighter jet cockpit thing on the top of it, the seat. So obviously, if you were in the cockpit seat when it's horizontally flying, you'll be looking forwards, but then if you were coming into land, you would be looking at the sky, so it would be terrible. So they made it's very interesting where your feet are in horizontal flight. So where your feet are in like a normal plane's flight, there's actually a glass window, and the whole cockpit swivels, and you can look out of the floor forwards.
Wow.
I don't know if I'm explaining that well. This is probably a very difficult segment for the audio listeners, but to me, if you get in a 1950s car, dude, and someone says to you, "Hey, let's do Land's End to John O'Groats in a 1950s car," imagine the toolkit you'd bring. Imagine the oil, the water, the bloody...
Another car.
You would, though. You'd want you'd want like a backup vehicle, and then they're trying to fly giant bell things in the air.
Wow. I tell you what, there looks like there's a great documentary, Ollie, that you'd love, which was on
What's that?
Discovery, called Planes That Never Flew.
Oh!
And if you go on the Google Images, there's a bunch of like really random images and stuff like that of planes that just never managed to get off the
There
ground.
you go.
So,
I
there
find
you go,
that
it's quite
fascinating.
interesting.
Working in a...
So this was in 1950.
Yeah.
1950s. Right, so quick question. It's a simple yes or no answer, Mr. Wilkins and Benny. We want a simple yes or no answer.
Okay.
20 years after the Bell plane,
Yep.
did humans go to the moon? Yes or no?
I believe that humans went to the moon, Davey. I think it depends on what documentary we watch and in what order. I think that ultimately you can't really know anything, but I think they did. I think it's good to focus. I went down this rabbit hole when I was younger, and I'm glad I came out the other side just sort of accepting that there's no way of actually telling. But I think they did. I think that the Goodyear tyres are the only tyres to ever be on the moon. There you go. Have some of that.
Were they Goodyear? Yeah.
Yeah, they were, dude. On the moon landing. Not that. I mean, there's very much less gravity on the moon, so it kind of makes you think, what do the tyres do? But but yes,
Benny,
tyres
yes
are good on
or
the moon.
no? Gen Z, what do Gen Zs think?
I believe there is human machines on the moon, but also depending on what documentary you watch, may be inclined to believe that we did not go to the moon.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it
All
may
right.
be more
You've got to
fun
watch
to
all
believe
of them,
that we
haven't you?
didn't
You've got to
You
watch
have
all
to,
of them. I
before
know
you
what
make
you
an
think,
educated
Davey.
decision.
There's no way.
Yeah, you know what I think.
Yeah, there's no
You know
way.
what I think.
It's.
You know what I think.
I think what I think is more crazy is that we have proof that they did fake certain things, which is
Yeah.
insane. Like,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
equally, you know how it is. You're putting together.
And it was a space race. We were in a
Yeah.
space race. Well, they were, the Americans, with Russia, and
Yeah.
it was very much a dick swinging competition.
Yeah.
And the people that worked on the imagery and the videos were Hollywood directors.
Yeah, they're trying to get it out. Yeah.
So it is interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea.
Here's a
But
question. So
Yeah.
who will be the first energy drink company to go to space then?
the first energy. I think it's Red Bull already. They've been in space
Didn't that bloke
So then
jump
to
from
Mars, who's going to go to Mars?
to Mars. It's got to be the
Mars bar?
Mars
Who
bar,
owns
yeah,
Mars
it's gotta be
bar?
Mars
Reckon.
bar. Yeah, Nestle. I think.
Nestle, innit?
I can't think of anything worse than going to Mars. I'm going to be honest. Even if you
Really?
offered me a round trip, I can't think of anything worse. It looks shit up there. I think we're on the best one. Clearly, we're on the best one. There's so much to explore. Keep me out of
but
space,
think-
dude. I'm into this one. I'm a homie.
Think of the jumps you can make up there. It's literally free land.
Not interested.
Yeah, Red
dude.
Bull Rampage Mars. That's next.
Rampage I
Hot
could
seat-
deal with
hot
for
seat
10
racing
days.
Mars. Come on, hot seat racing in Mars.
Could work.
Literally.
Could work.
Yeah, who knows?
Would you
I
go
don't
if you
know.
got a round trip?
Absolutely not.
You wouldn't know.
Nah, why?
Benny, what about you?
Round trip, yeah.
Round
Just
trip, you'd be
thinking
up
of
for it.
TikTok content.
I think so. Mate, yeah, exactly. Think of the content you could pump out. TikTok dancers on Mars.
But how many excursions to Mars have to have been completed before you go? For me, it's at least 100.
Yeah.
Like successful ones.
Yeah,
you
dude.
don't want to be in the top 10. You don't want to be that person.
No, I didn't buy the first iPod, that's for sure.
No.
You know
No,
what I mean?
you don't.
Yeah.
First one's a
don't buy
throwaway.
First anything. Yeah, first one is a throwaway.